All right. Hi, everyone. Hello. A little louder. I'm that kind of person. Hi, everyone. Hello. There we go. Welcome. Thank you very much for coming to my session today. How to advance your career and you're not really sure where to start or push forward. So I'm going to start off with that this is not going to be a lecture. I have the least amount of slides of any presenter at PSU with this particular deck. I think I have a total of 12. One of them is an about me, 2 of them are transitions, so let's just call it 9. Whereas my good friend Nate downstairs had like 165. So it's not that kind of presentation, okay? No fluff, straight real talk. For those who don't know, I am from New York. That's just how we are. I do want you to start thinking of questions. This is going to be a Q&A session. If you don't have questions, you're not going to get anything from this. I want this session to be me talking to you or you about your careers and helping you through, okay? This is a safe space to talk about your careers. I will ask you your first name and what industry you're in, because don't forget, this is going on the YouTubes. Hello, internet. But I don't want you to get in trouble. So you can say that you're in corporate, you can say you're in education, just so I can have the frame of mind of how to help, okay? And I want you to remember this one sentence. Growth starts when excuses stop. Okay? The reason people don't move forward in their careers is they're always coming up with some sort of excuse. Growth starts when excuses stop. So real quick, who am I? Hi, I'm Justin. This is my 4th presentation at Mac Admins. I've done the 3 in a row the last couple of years. Last year I did a presentation on imposter syndrome, which seems to have hit home with a lot of people. And it made me realize that I can do more for the community. Imposter syndrome, makes you feel like you're not good enough to ask for a raise or look for another job or even a different career altogether. But I want to tell you that you can and you are able to do this, okay? And I'm going to tell a couple stories here. Number 1, I'm going to tell you a story about a carpenter. Not that one, a different carpenter. This particular person was trying to be an actor and sucked at it. By the way, I curse a lot in my presentation, so if you are offended by that, I apologize in advance. Sucked at acting. And so he became a carpenter. And he was living in Hollywood, and he was working on a set. And while on set, someone was like, hey, can you just read a couple lines for us? And he was like, sure. And he read lines. And he became an actor again. And that guy is Han Solo, Harrison Ford. He was so bad at acting, he became a carpenter. He was working on the set of Star Wars when George Lucas said, hey, rando carpenter guy, can you read some lines? And he became Han frickin' Solo. Okay? Another great example I like is Vera Wang. She was a competitive figure skater and Vogue editor before she became a famous bridal dressmaker. And probably my most favorite. There was a zookeeper who he was cleaning out lion cages whilst writing and then soon to be acting in his first movie ever. Does anybody know who it is? It's Sylvester Stallone. He was writing Rocky while he's cleaning out lion cages. So if these people can do it, I guarantee you all can do it too. So let's talk about why you're stuck and what you're going to do about it. We're going to get a little touchy-feely here. I want you to self-identify with what's holding you back. Which one of these resonates with you the most? And what's stopping you from just doing the work? Greatness comes from an abundance mindset and your ability to work up the ladder. I can tell you that my own IT company didn't just grow by itself. I literally put myself out there. So a little history. My company, Virtual Computers, started in 2008. And at the time, it was just me. I'd worked for an Apple consultant. I started working in 2004. He sucked at all things business. Sorry, Scott, it's true. Sold his company in 2005 to a local ISP in New York City. They didn't really want a Mac department. They just wanted our customers, so they fired me in 2008. Actually, funny story, the day I got fired was the day my dad picked me up in the city in his Coke van, which is when I did the Pepsi Cup thing from earlier. And I needed to start something. I started what I wanted to start. I wanted to start a proper Apple consultancy, which is what I do. And so I took every advantage of every opportunity given to me. I took on clients nobody wanted. I helped other consultants because I had a particular skill set that they didn't have. I started to build apps. I started to do training. I started to get on every podcast I could. If you look me up prior to, let's say, 2 years ago, like the amount of episodes of the Command Control podcast or Mac Admin's podcast I've been on, or other ones talking about some random thing that I did. I just had to get my name out there, right? I started speaking at events, including this one, which then led me to running my own conference. For those who don't know, I run a conference for Apple consultants called ACES. It's all about the business side of IT consulting. And so I looked at it as like, if there was an angle to press on, I pressed on it. And I'm even talking about like little things. Like I've written a business book. I've written a children's book. I've written an adult coloring book. They're all on Amazon. I started making funny t-shirts. I dabbled in software. We stopped doing software. Then I started doing software again. We even dabbled in hardware. Like if there was something there that I can press on, I did it. I took the opportunity to. And like the truth be told, like it wasn't easy. There were plenty of times that I flopped, but I knew, and maybe not in that particular moment in time, that there was a way out. Who here, this is going to be a mixed bag because I can tell by age, who here remembers Now Contact and Now Up to Date? Okay. Now Contact was this great little company-wide address book. You had it running on a server. This is pre-Gmail, pre-Office 365, right? And you could run like a global address book for your company. They decided to close their doors, and I was deep in my app world, and I was like, I'm going to make a new one. And we took a year to build it because the iPhone had just come out, and I wanted to make it so that the contacts would be on the phone, and my programmer didn't know how to do it, so we had to get another programmer in New Zealand and do time zones and look at Apple spec, which of course didn't work because it's them. And like built this whole thing. And I spent in cash, and this isn't like a rub, I'm just trying to get to the point where I failed. I probably spent somewhere between $60,000 and $80,000 building this application. And then I sold one copy at $145. But it has given me a great story to tell at a conference. It taught me a little bit about humility. It taught me about minimum viable products, get the idea out the door first, add on later. It taught me about moving faster than waiting. All different things that will help me along in other parts of my career later. Here's another one. If you knew me in 2011, 2012, you knew that I had a very popular app called Sign My Pad. It was the first ever PDF signature application for an iPad. This is pre-DocuSign, pre-EchoSign. And we released a pro version for $99.99. Remember, this is 2011. Like the iPad just came out. Like nobody was selling apps at that price point, right? This was like, apps are going to be cheap or free or whatever, and yay, angels. And then we released this one for $99. Wired Magazine got a hold of us and ripped me to shreds publicly. Who sells apps for $99? That's ridiculous. Like, who is this person? Blah, blah, blah. And I could have like taken it on the chin, right? But I didn't. What I did was I put up a video of me in my apartment from New York City, like with like a crappy background, being like, if you like Sign My Pad Pro, here's what we're gonna do. And I lowered the price from $99 to $9, and I said, for every positive comment about our app on Wired Magazine's article, I will keep it that way for another 24 hours. Right? It's a little F you to them. 12 days later, I had sold 10,000 copies of the app. So my point here is that like there are ways to push through. There is nothing stopping you from moving your career forward, moving your life forward, because people are going to get in your way. And you kind of just have to like drop kick them and just like move past them. As told by the famous 80s sitcom, you take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have. Anyone? The facts of life. No one's coming to rescue you. I'm glad you're here in this presentation, but anything I say is going to try to help you, but I cannot save you. I cannot rescue you. okay? If you're not actively building and working on your career, you are passively stalling it. If you are not going out and learning more and testing yourself and trying to get out there, you are just sitting around wasting time. You are stalling on your career. On the business side of things, we like to say if you're not growing, you're shrinking. It's the same thing on a personal level. Okay? I had a friend who is an IT director for a large real estate firm in the city. We used to take care of them. This is why we met. He brought us in to take care of their marketing department. That real estate firm got bought by a bigger real estate firm. There was some political garbage that had nothing to do with us. They had an internal IT. We are out. Cool. Don't care. Still in touch with the friend. Fast forward a couple of years. This is actually a couple months ago now that this happened. This gentleman who is, I'm 45. He is probably 60-ish. I'm sorry if I got your age wrong, dude. But he got let go from the company. And he calls me. He's like, what do I do? And I was like, who knows you exist? And he's like, what? I was like, the entire business world is on LinkedIn right now. I know it's turning into kind of like a cesspool, but that's our digital bar. That's where we yell over one another. That's where we praise each other. That's where we send notes to say we like one another. Are you on there? And he's like, kinda. And I was like, cool, get off the effing phone, get on LinkedIn. Have a modern headshot, have a banner behind you that tells you what you do, and here's the bigger part. Start putting content out there. I want you to reshare an article from some website that is related to something that you want to do every day with a little tagline of what your thoughts are. And then once a week, I want you to write a piece by yourself, 30 minutes. In total, I'm asking for an hour of work from this guy. Within a month, he had a job. And sure, you can be oh, well, he applied and it was all about the interview. But the thing is, people who are interviewing you are looking at what you're doing on LinkedIn. You have to be basically posting stuff about what you're passionate about. If you're really into helping kids with technology and you're in the education space, that's what you should be posting about on LinkedIn. If you're into consulting and business, that's what you're posting about on LinkedIn. I run 3 tracks on LinkedIn just because I'm that kind of person. If I'm looking for new clients, I'm posting stuff that I see on Mac Rumors and 9 to 5 and Tidbits. If I'm talking about my conference, I'm trying to push on that angle. And a lot of times I'm pushing my own personal stuff because I'm trying to create a public persona about myself. But if you're going on LinkedIn and you're posting political opinions or what's new from Dub, not going to help you. You have to be talking to the people who are going to be looking at you. If you're looking for a job or a career or you want to move up, you have to be talking to them. I was talking to someone earlier about this. Website design is very similar to resume building. We had on our website, we are the masters at Apple Business or something like that. And we changed it to you've found the masters at Apple Business. The person who's hitting our website is they're talking to me. That's what we want them to feel. It's the same thing when you're writing your resume, when you're posting on LinkedIn, wherever you're going to do stuff, have them make them feel special. Talk to them. If you want to move your career forward, the only person who's going to rescue you is you. So here's a little playbook. 5 things you can do right now. Jen Sincero she wrote a book called You Are a Badass. It's a great book. If you don't have it, I suggest you go on Amazon and buy it. I don't get any referral money from that though. She writes, and I'm going to read this because I want this to be correct. You have to change your thinking first, then the evidence appears. Our big mistake is that we do it the other way around. We demand to see the evidence before we believe it's true. I want you to pick one from this list, and I want you to Shia LaBeouf it. Just do it. Be like him. Don't be like him, but be like him. Remember, no one's going to save you. So it's up to you to pick one of these paths and run with it. And sometimes you can pick 2 paths, right? I know for me, I work with a business coach, and I'm investing in skills that scare me. As an example, I need to be JAMF 300 certified by the end of September, and I'm an Adage boy. Never logged into JAMF before in my life. Not a big fan of it prior to what happened like 2 days ago. So like it's a whole new beast for me, and I am plowing through. I already got my 100 and my 170. I'm signed up for my 200 class, which I'm taking in 2 weeks. And as soon as that's done, I'm signing up for my 300. That kind of scares me a little bit because like I have to give up an entire week of work because those classes are like 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. I have an entire like list of stuff that needs to get done, and I'm not going to do it because I'm going to be in training. And I got to do 2 of these trainings for a software I don't use, don't know, don't whatever. That's scary. That's okay though. And I'm going to do it, and nothing's going to stop me. Like I said, I only have 7 slides. We've hit it. And this is what this session is about, Q&A, okay? It's your turn now. And I know it's hard to ask questions, but I can guarantee there's something you're wanting to get answered. And I want to spend what my MCP tells me is about 40 minutes left to do that for you, okay? That's what this session is. I am a business coach in some respects. I help a lot of different companies. I worked with some SaaS companies. I've worked with consultants. I've worked with educators. I have a client she makes cake balls. They're delicious. You probably have something you want answered. I told you to come here with questions. Now it's time. Who wants to go first? Yeah. I don't like throwing this thing because I'm always afraid something's going to fall or break, so I'll do a light toss. First name and industry that you're in, please.
Braden Corporate Enterprise.
Hey, Braden.
Looking for a coach or a mentor. Best way without feeling you're bothering someone, right? And they're not an actual mentor or coach, right?
Right. Looking for a coach or mentor without bothering someone. Cool. So everybody and their mother is a coach. Everybody and their mother is a mentor right now. This is like the new hot thing. Like I know a lot of consultants who want to get out of consulting and want to be coaches for consultants, and not everybody can be. My first mentor when I really started thinking about it was Gary Vaynerchuk. I still don't know him personally. A mentor or coach doesn't necessarily have to be somebody that you can talk to. It could be somebody that you're following. And so I went through actually a plethora of them. I went from Gary Vaynerchuk to Lewis Howes from the School of something. I forget what his thing is. James Altucher. Finally, I found this guy, Jason Womack. He's not in the industry anymore, but he was the first lower player in regards to the fact that I can connect with him. Like I can't connect with those other guys, right? And then from him, I met someone else who met someone else. And then I ended up with the most amazing coach ever, this woman, Melanie Curtis, who's a professional skydiver. She is like a world record holder for like jumping out of planes, and something I would never do. And then I started actually offering her services to my company. It's actually like if you work for Virtua, it's like a benefit or whatever it is. So you're not bothering them, number one, because you're probably going to pay them, so they're fine with it. What I will say is find someone who resonates in the language you understand. Because you're in corporate, you don't want to talk to a mentor who really works specifically with teachers, right, as an example. And if you're looking for a mentor, go on LinkedIn and just straight up post. I guarantee you, if you look at your LinkedIn connections right now, you're going to have a lot of people that are in the same field as you, right? Somebody knows someone. Hey, I'm looking for a mentor or a coach who can help me, who knows someone. It's cool to ask that. Like, I hate to break it to you, it's 2025. Like, it's cool to be vulnerable about things, right? Like, I know, like, my dad was a dude he was born in 1942, right? Like, he never got out of 1950. Like, emotions were not his thing. Meat, potatoes the whole way. Love you, Dad. But it's cool to be vulnerable now, and it's cool to ask her that kind of stuff. And my business coach, Melanie, probably not the right kind of coach for you, right? But there is probably someone who is out there who will do it. You're not bothering them, though. I promise you. Who else? If you don't have questions, you're going to lose out all the way in the back. All right, good luck with this one. Nice. Good shot. First name and industry?
Hayden and nonprofits.
Hayden, nonprofit. Love nonprofits. You do a lot of work with nonprofits.
Great. So towards the end of last year, decided I want to get Microsoft certified, and I'm going to do it by the end of February.
Okay.
Well, end of January, our entire office phone system went down.
Okay.
I am single internal IT, and the way our bureaucracy works is we weren't going to our MSP to ask their opinion on what we should have. We did the meetings.
Sure.
And then we did it, or I configured our system from the ground up. Well, that took me a couple months, and then by the time I came to in April, after working too many hours that I didn't get paid for, but put the hard work in, I was like, wow, I was supposed to do that months ago, and I didn't.
Yeah.
And so when you were like, oh, I'm going to do this, and it's scary, and that's great, how do you move from the roadblocks that just come up because life is a thing that exists? The Earth is rapidly spinning on its axis.
Yeah,
So,
I like Pete Holmes goes, you think you're on a planet right now? Zoom out. You're on a space rock moving millions of miles an hour. When you think about it like that, you're like, yeah, how do you move past that? You know what? You recognize the fact that that happened, and you say, okay, well, tomorrow still exists. It's a mindset shift, right? An excuse may or may not be valid. In this case, it is. You have a nonprofit, they need money, they don't have phones, they can't collect from their donors. You need the phones. And you probably may or may not have spent too much time working on it. Fine. But that's past Hayden. We're talking about today Hayden. And what can, I'm going to curse here, what can today Hayden do not to fuck future Hayden? Because I can tell you this, past Justin's an asshole. Because current Justin's like, I should have done more. But like, it's in the past. I can't change that. Time machines still don't exist, unfortunately. So like, recognize, and that's a big part too, right? Like, recognize that you did all that work, that you built that phone system, which is probably great for your resume. And again, something you can talk about on LinkedIn or do whatever with. But recognize that that happened and you're okay with it. And you know what? Okay, so you didn't take your Microsoft certification. You'll take it in 3 weeks from now. Guarantee you that the certification didn't change. And Microsoft doesn't care when you take it. The only person who really cares when you took it is you. You're the only one who's hitting that roadblock, personally, like mentally. Okay, past Hayden had something to do. Whether it was work, family, whatever. There's plenty of times where like I want to do something and I can't because like my kid wants to do something and it's in my way. All right, so I'm going to hang out with my kid for a little bit and then I'm going to like find something that I can scratch off my list and just get it done. Like for months I wanted to clean out my garage, right? Which is like a thing. All right, so there was one day and I was like, I got an hour. I'm just going to do it now. Do I care that I did it at the beginning of the summer or in the middle of the summer or the end of summer? No, I got it clean. That's all that matters because you want to feel good at the end of it. When you take that cert, whether it was in January or what are we in July? July, August, whatever, you're still going to feel that good and that like praise and that warm inside your heart that you took it. So it doesn't matter when. Don't let time be the thing that like holds you back because time is an excuse. You had something to do. Okay, cool. You did it. You move on. Cool?
thank you.
You got it. Behind you.
Zach, I also work at a nonprofit.
Same nonprofit or different nonprofit?
No, I don't know that guy.
Okay, fine. All right. Hey, Zach.
But you said like this is my first time here.
Okay.
Last year you said you gave a talk on imposter syndrome. And
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna go back and check that one out. But that kind of relates to my question. Like when my boss told me that I could go, and he asked who was presenting, and he said like, well, you should give a talk because you know a lot. Like you could offer value to people, but like I'm like no, like there's people here that are way smarter than I am, and I don't want to be the idiot who like shares something stupid that like that's probably like most people know, but I don't know that. Like how would you say you get past that.
You said it's Zach, right?
Yeah.
Zach, I'm gonna give you a true secret here, and if you know anyone who's in the ACN community, I am the dumbest, smartest person there is. Right? People in the ACN community know me to be some just loudmouth kid who, like, I still call myself a kid. I'm 45. Let's be honest. Like, to come on stage and be like, look at me, right? But I know what I know. I have a friend who's in the community. He's like, you're one of the smartest ACNs that exist. But, like, I don't put that out there. That's just not my persona, right? So there's a couple different pieces here. One is your personality. Getting up here and talking is effing hard. It's not for everyone. Everyone in this room could do it, but you have to be comfortable doing it. If you know your stuff, that helps, right? I know business. I've been a business person my entire life. Like, when I was in 5th grade, my best friend Evan would make like these origami paper holders, like whatever, and I bought them from him for a nickel, and I sold them to the kid to the right of me for a quarter. Like, this has been my life, my entire life. So I understand business. I understand how these things work. Taking that institutional knowledge from your brain and being to put it out there, that's a skill to learn. So if you're not comfortable coming on stage, because if your boss is saying you know this stuff, if you're not comfortable coming on stage, that's where you go and you take, I'm a big fan of taking like an amateur comedy class, because if you ever want to feel like absolute garbage, that's the best place to do it, because telling jokes to a room where no one's laughing really can like bring you down a little. Toastmasters is another good one. There's a couple things you can do for public speaking. As for the imposter syndrome part of it, that's in your head. I said this last year and I got called out on my feedback, but I'll say it again. Humans have lizard brains. Someone tried to correct me and I don't remember what it is, so I'm sticking with the lizard brain thing. We were bred to like not leave the cave because there's like danger outside, right? Extrapolate that to here. You know what you know. To leave the cave and tell everybody else about what you know, people are going to be like, what are you talking about? That part is the harder part. So it's a matter of like practice, being comfortable on stage, mimicking other people. Like when I used to go on stage when I first started, going back to Braden's question, like you could easily tell how much I was copying Gary Vaynerchuk's like stage style. Like down to the point where like he goes on stage, he's like, ugh, and I was like doing the same thing. Like it was stupid. But like you mold it and you get into your own, and then you realize that like, oh my God, I've been doing this for however many years, and it's fine. And the other part about imposter syndrome, and this is kind of really important, okay? It's okay if it's not perfect. And I got like chills even saying this word. It's okay if it's not perfect. And you have to be okay with that. We want perfection. Like as humans, we want things to be perfect. That's why we all love watching videos where like something slides into something else and there's like no seam line. You ever see those? Like they're super like satisfying. But like that's not life, man. If you have a skill set, if you have something that you think people can learn from you, that's amazing. Own it and live into that and then go and share that. Does that help? Cool. I have 32 minutes. Someone else better have a question. All the way in the back. Or we can just keep throwing it from. Please, whoever is after her cannot be in the front because I'm just afraid that someone's. Yeah, all right.
I will walk.
Okay,
back.
fine.
I don't really have a question, but to add to, you're not sure that you have anything to give. You're an expert in your field at your company. You might have something that a newbie to Mac admins has never heard before.
Yeah.
So, Rusty Myers, that everybody knows, that is the Mac admin guru of every Mac admin. Well, he'll love to hear a new perspective. Me, not really a Mac admin. I'm just here because I work with Rusty and they needed help. I don't know anything, so I would probably learn a lot from you. So, just do it.
Just do it. Shia LaBeouf it. I love that one. Who else? Over here?
Throw that.
Yeah. I know we've been doing the cashback things for years, but like I'm like, this is a dangerous toy. One sec.
They don't work when your office has dogs.
Oh, that's true. They shred it in the morning. All right, what do you got? First name and industry?
I'm Curtis.
Curtis.
I work in tech/real estate industry.
Okay.
And I was just curious, when do you know, or what are some signs that come out that make you realize maybe this just isn't working anymore and I need to change gears?
Good question. Just repeat. How do you know when it's time to change gears? Do you know yourself?
Yeah.
Do you know yourself well?
Yeah.
Are you happy?
Yeah. Generally.
Cool. Then it's not time to change gears. Right? Like that's the simple answer. If you're in a position where you wake up and you go, it's gonna be a Monday, and it's Wednesday, then it's time, right? Everybody has a different threshold to work from. Everybody has a different categorization of what makes them feel happy. Like you all are in an industry that is forever changing, which is like the weirdest part because not many industries do that, right? Like not to diss on them, but like when was there like a plumber convention and someone's being like, I'm going to tell you about the newest thing in copper pipe, right? Like you have to love what you do. And I think one of the things is being in technology is we love learning, right? But if you ever get to that point where you're like, I don't want to do this. Like I'll tell a true story. I went on vacation a couple of weeks ago with some friends and the conversation came up of if I would ever sell my business. And I legit looked at my friends and I was like, I don't know how to do anything else. Like, what else would I do? They're like, you make really good popovers. I'm like, I can't make a career like making popovers for people. Then we spent the rest of the vacation designing my popover drive truck. Like, so if I ever want to pop on over, it's gonna be my new pop-up truck. But like, it comes down to your own personal happiness. That overpowers money or anything else. Like money's a big part of it, obviously. If you're not getting a raise and but you still put food on the table and you can cover your mortgage and you have enough discretionary income to like do something and like you're fine with that, then it just comes down to your personal happiness. If you go home every day and you look at your partner, spouse, whatever, and you're just like, man, Bob in accounting is a fucking dick. I told you guys I curse a lot. You know what? Bye, Bob. And you go somewhere else. Where Bob isn't, right? So it comes down to what your internal feelings are. And if you're saying you're happy, great. Now, that doesn't stop you from wanting more at the company you're at. That's a different feeling. Keep that in mind, right? We're talking about the difference between switching careers or switching opportunities to moving up in the same company. If you're moving up in the same company, that is, you want to feel validated for the work you're doing. Much different feeling than not being happy. Because they kind of float the same, but like if you want to feel validated about the work you're doing, that's where you go and say, listen, I have done what you have asked me for, plus this. I want compensation for it. I want a new title. I want whatever. So it's a slightly different feeling, but you can still get there. Does that help?
Yep.
Cool. Who else? I told you I'd ask questions.
Anthony, higher ed.
Okay.
I spoke to you during the week earlier about this, Jason, but it seems like a great follow-up to what Chris said. So for me, I'm getting close to retirement. In fact, my pension is such that I could retire today, unreduced pension, no problem. I'll do what I can. There is incentive for me to stay because my pension will get bigger.
Yeah.
And if I want, and if I'm still enjoying the work, why not?
Right.
I'm starting to go, oh, I don't feel like dealing with this internal bullshit anymore. That at a younger age I had time for because I was willing to fight the fight. And so within the past 2 years, I've applied for outside jobs. I haven't had to apply for a job for 25 years. And yet that told me that it's like, well, as soon as I qualified for a pension, it's like I can leave tomorrow. And as long as that is, going to give me a good payday to feed my retirement, then I'm great with it. For me, now I've actually started talking to people about a date. And that date is less than 2 years away. So the issue I'm having is, okay, now I'm going to go out and I've got lots of, useful knowledge, professional knowledge that I'd love to apply. How do I now, after being employed with a single employer for such a long time, now go out and hang my shingle out? And I'm not looking for full-time work. I'm just looking for, I'll call it retirement consultancy, right? And yet I still have to do all the keep current, come to this conference, come to other, I still have to do all that work. But I don't need, I just want to make, let's say $10,000 a year on it, right? I don't need to make a full salary. I have other things in my life I also want to do when I retire. So I wanted to hear your thoughts, Justin, about those type of transitionary things. Sometimes it's you leave a job, sometimes you have a family and you decide I want some parental leave, and so I'm not going to work full time. Any thoughts? Me telling my story about things that would be helpful to me or anyone.
You, I think, are already in a much better place than you realize, because you're recognizing, I don't need this. I don't need a full time. I don't need to deal with Bob and accounting anymore.
Yeah.
Right? And so you have this, and again, these are all personal, so it doesn't fit for everybody, but like you're in this unique position where you're like, I'm good. I'm just going to do this for fun. That makes you, and you recognize your emotional state to be happier than if you were not good. So like, I think you're on the path. Just stay on that track. You're good. Like, I really do. You could be a coach, a consultant. Don't coach him because you're in a different, again, education corporate, right? Yeah. Okay. But like, maybe there's something maybe you did something at the school that like is this like super unique thing that's like on GitHub and everybody loves, and then you could be like that guy, right? Like I have plenty of friends in this industry who have put stuff out on GitHub or built programs or done whatever, and they're like that's the dude, right? Be that guy if you want to be that guy. If you don't want to be that guy, also cool. But like from an emotional and mental state, you're in probably the best possible place you could be right now for all of that to happen.
Yeah. Oh, and just because when we were talking at lunch or dinner, whatever it was the other day,
Yeah.
you dropped Roy Miggins' name.
Yes.
He's part of our local meetup group and one of actually the people who keeps it going. Yeah, I met with him probably 2 years ago at lunch.
Yeah.
Talked to him, because that's another guy who I would happily do part-time work
Roy's
for.
great.
Right? He also said, yeah, look for like small independent schools that could really use your skill set just to get up and running and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the other thing, if you've got connections in the community. Luckily, the meetup that we kind of started around the conference, mostly MSPs.
Yeah.
So like I know the people I might work for.
Well, that's what I said
places,
earlier, right?
yeah.
Join a community. Right?
Absolutely.
So the person we're talking about is this guy, Roy Miggins. He runs a ACN out of Canada, shout out. And he's in the ACES community, right? That's how I know him. And you know him from another meetup. So like, meet people that are in the community. The Mac admins group is 70,000 people. But there isn't like, there's like 540 channels. There's a channel for everything in this Slack. Join or start the pensioners channel, happy pensioners channel, and just announce it and just watch how many people jump in there and be like, let's do something. You know what I mean? But like, there's always ways, and building off your community connections is a definite good way to do that.
Sort of yours reminded me of in the FIRE community, which I follow some stuff of, financial independence, retire early. There's a real hesitancy for people when they have spreadsheets, they have the data to say, I am financially independent, I could never work again, and I have a house and food and clothes and stuff. And a lot of people will delay for months, years afterwards. And so there might be some interesting, and like what they find later, because they don't stop working, they just have very different incentives. Like they're not going to work to be able to eat. They're now going because I enjoy this or I find it valuable. So there might be for you, like, to read some of those stories of like you're in that position because of where you've gotten. Like you now can use your time to do what you want. And yeah, like create a channel. Yeah, the pensioners. Like maybe there's like the Mac admins like SWAT team. Like, are you needing to deploy 1,000 iPads in 48 hours? Like, just call us.
Yeah.
There's IT disaster recovery. They literally like jump in and get Wi-Fi working after like FEMA level disasters. That's a cool thing.
But like here, our friend over here did the VoIP for nonprofit, right? Like, start a channel called Emergency VoIP Help. Boom. Who here enjoys working? Okay. I didn't say do you enjoy working where you are? I just like, do you enjoy working in general, right? Because people like in the fire community, as an example, they're financially independent, but they just enjoy working. Like, people tend to ask me, and you're going to get a kick out of this one because you know this one. I get asked all the time, like, how do you do all the things that you do? I enjoy working. I don't like my kids. Sorry. Like, it's not true. I do love my kids. Sometimes. All right. It's true, right? Right. I really love them when they're not home. That's the best part. But like, I love working. Like, I love giving back to the community. Like, those things that I talked about earlier, like, sure, there's financial gains in all of them, but like the fact of the matter that I started this conference, just as an example, like, we've had the conference for 11 years, and I started the conference because I knew that it was something that was needed in the ACN community. There were no conferences that were doing the business talks, marketing, management, sales, legal. So I started it for two reasons. I knew the community needed it, and I knew I needed it. And in 11 years, I've never listened to a single presentation because running a conference is absolutely horrible. Is the air conditioner on? It's too hot. I didn't get chicken at lunch. Guys, I want to listen to this person talk. Never happens. But like, if you like working, just generally speaking, the money will come. You know? You have to enjoy that. If you don't like working, then you have to figure out why. So if you didn't raise your hand, you have to figure out why you don't like working. Because it might not just be that you don't like working. You just might not like working where you are. Or you might not like working in what you're doing. Right? Like, as much as I said, like, IT is an ever-growing thing, like, IT sucks. Like, truth be told, like, let's think about this for a second. Logically speaking, right? Everything that's on one of these devices is code. Code is math. And as we all know, math is math. And yet one day, Mac Mail just decides to say, fuck math, I'm not opening today. That's why we have a job. But it shouldn't be like that. Like, it's math. Math is math. Like, it should just work. But it doesn't. That's how we have a job. So it doesn't make any sense that any of us have jobs. But we do, and we like it. And we like puzzle solving, and we like figuring out these problems. If that's what you do, then that's what you do. And if you're like, you know what, I'm done problem solving, I'm going to make popovers on a truck for my friends, then do that. Like, it's whatever brings you happiness also. Who else? Go straight across. Put. Nice.
Test.
1, 2.
Brilliant.
Yeah, good enough. Ross, right?
What's doing?
Yeah, what's up, dude?
Good to see you again. I'd be very curious to start a business,
Okay.
but I also know myself, and I do not really a huge confrontation person,
Okay.
you know? And I feel like a lot of the reality of zero-sum economics is fighting tooth and nail to get what you need to get and lock down clients and set prices and have the hard conversations about that. Thoughts on the boundaries of when you realize you need to partner with someone else who has those skills at a mature level versus self-development?
I would love to work with you. No, I'm just kidding. Starting a business is hard, right? You have to, number one, you have to be okay with risk, and you have to be okay with failing. If you're not okay with those, then you're not the kind of person. My wife is a genius on many levels. I'm not just saying that for the YouTubes. But she's risk adverse and would never start her own business. But she would be so damn good at it. But she just doesn't have that gene, right? And that's okay. I take on enough risk for both of us. As for the confrontation part, it's not as confrontational as you think. yes, there are days, and I still get, I'm an emotional person. Like when a client fires me, I will cry, right? I have a couch, like if anyone watches me on the podcast that I do, All Things MSP, you'll see there's a couch behind me. People are like, why do you have a couch? Because I'm always crying during the day because like something terrible has happened. But building the resiliency to deal with that and say, you know what? I'm still here. I'm still breathing. I can still put food on the table for my kids and my family, and I don't have to worry about like remortgaging my house or something like that. Okay. Much like the facts of life, you get punched in the face and you get back up. Building that resiliency does take time. There's no amount of training. Like there's nothing you can, I don't think there's a class out there called beat me up. I'm going to take it and learn from it. Like it's life just in general. Right. So when I started, like things were peaches and rainbows. I remember having a conversation with both my father-in-law and my uncle-in-law being like, is it possible to like have a business so good and never get knocked down? Like I always knew that like you had to get knocked down to go higher. And like at that point in my career, I had not yet been knocked down. And they both looked at me and they were like, the fuck are you talking about? Like, yeah, you have to get knocked down. It's the only way we grow. So if you're truly not okay with that part of it, then you may not be the right person to start the business, which is kind of where you're going, right? Partnering with someone that will start the business, then you need to offer something that is going to be cataclysmically more than what they're bringing, right? Argumentatively, you and me start a business, okay? I'm the showboaty talking one. I'll close the clients. I'm not great at getting new clients, but if we get a client, I'll close a new client. But then I'm going to hand them off to you. And you're going to have to like spit shine their car to like a degree more, because I'm going to promise the world to them. Dude, guys, Ross is the best. Onboarding will take 3.5 seconds. And you come to me, they're like, it's an hour. 3.5 seconds. I promise you, you're going to have to deal with that. There's going to be confrontation in between you and me. So there's all of these different parts. You can't avoid confrontation at all. And so you have to decide where you want to get hit in the face from. Internally or externally. Both? Neither? Be comfortable with one, not the other? Again, only you can, like, you better. So, like, where are you most comfortable with those feelings? And, like, run with that. Does that help?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Anyone else? In the back corner.
Oh, Lord.
Who? Ooh. Hey, at least you got it there and didn't hit her in the face, so that's fine. Hi.
Cody, and I work for a small business.
Okay. Hey, Cody.
So I'm a fairly recent college grad in my first real life tech job.
Congrats.
And the job that I'm at right now is kind of throwing me to the wolves. I'm doing help desk, networking, back-end coding. I'm doing a little bit of everything. And when I go to ask for help, they kind of just like, well, do your research and figure it out. And then it's kind of getting to the point where it's really annoying.
Yeah. That's because we told you to do the work. We don't want, me walking you through it. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out how to improve myself based on that, and just kind of move forward to just continue my education pretty much in the real world.
How long have you been with this company?
Not too long, since about October.
Okay, so less than a year.
Yeah.
Okay. This sounds weird. Like you got to put your miles on, right? Like you have to do the work. I think what your company is trying to do is to get you to learn the independence of things. Like I remember that company that I started with, like day one, he put me down with a titanium power book, a T8 screwdriver, and a CD drive, and he's like, replace this. And I go, how? And he goes, figure it out, right? Lessons learned are more substantial than lessons taught, right? If I teach you something as opposed to you learning it yourself the way you know you best, because maybe the way I teach it isn't the right way for you to learn. What I would do in your position is literally, here, let me ask a question. And if you don't want to answer at school, you have a partner or a significant other or anything like that, or are you single?
Wife, yeah.
You have a wife, okay. Kids?
No.
Cool. What time do you get off from work?
4:30.
What are you doing from 4:30? I asked this earlier, right? What are you doing from 4:30 till midnight every day? And if you say playing video games, I'm going to come over there. I'm going to punch you in the face.
No. No. Occasionally on when I don't do anything, but normally second job.
Second job. Okay, cool. So there you go. What I was going to say, if you didn't have the second job part, was like you have this time block to do stuff. If you have a second job, it's a little bit harder. Yeah. Are you working on the weekends?
Yes.
Yes, okay. You need to find the break points to where you can do things for yourself, right? You're under pressure, and that's what's getting to you more than anything else, and you don't realize it. If you're going to be stuck between your first job and your second job, you don't realize, you are now at that point where you're realizing, I don't have time for anything else. I don't have time to spend with my wife. I don't have time to play video games, and I definitely don't have time to learn things that I need to learn, okay? Self-recognition is massively important here. So what you need to do, thank you very much, what you need to do is find those breaks where you can learn. Sometimes, and I'm not saying do this, but sometimes learning on the job is okay because you're learning, hey, I'm at work and I'm going to learn my Jamf 100 or whatever, I'm using it as an example, right? Or I'm going to learn how to do this. I'm going to learn networking. I'm going to do it. Can I take apart this thing because I want to learn how to do this? Because right now I have 10 or 15 minutes. And just notate that down for when you're doing those kind of things. But you have to find that time. And it's really hard because you're under pressure. See if you can find those momentary breaks to relieve that pressure from you, to work on you, and build it up. The company wants you to learn. They may not be doing it in the most nice way, right? But there are those times, and you can do that. And make it about you. It's really funny that people are like, I don't have an ego. Have a fucking ego about it and make it about you, right? And spend that time working on that stuff. Does that help?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I could do, I think, one or two more if anyone has, because I'm watching the clock. Yeah, right here.
Hi, my name is Patrick. I'm in higher ed.
Hi, Patrick.
And I was curious if you've ever found yourself in a situation where you kind of realized you've been siloed, and what do you do about it?
There's an episode of the Mac Admins podcast where if you listen to my episode at the end, you'll hear me get bleeped for the first time ever, because I get siloed as a loudmouth New Yorker often, and I have clients all over the United States. And so when we started acquiring other businesses and we acquired somebody in the Midwest, I have a lot of clients in Iowa. And the guy who owned the company was like, you can't talk to them. You're too New York for them. Yeah, I'm not. Right? So yes, I have felt siloed in those kind of regards. Maybe not in the direct way you're saying, but yes. And getting through that is a mix of recognition and staying true to who you are. Because if I was like, oh, you're right, maybe I should be nicer, or I should talk with a Midwestern accent and be like, let's think about getting Microsoft Defender, or whatever they sound like in Iowa, I don't know. That wouldn't be me, and I would feel like an imposter on top of it, which isn't what you want. So if you're getting siloed in a particular thing, look at what's around to figure out how to break out. And it's a crap answer, and I apologize because it's a really hard concept to think about. But if you're you're the Jamf guy or you're the Adigi guy and you know everything about that, and you're like, I don't want to be that. I want to be the VoIP guy. Go be the VoIP guy. You have to find a way to make yourself feel comfortable enough to break out of those chains to go do those things. And that could be learning it on your own or just vocalizing it. I think if you say it to yourself and you say it out loud, that helps a lot as well. That company I mentioned earlier, Transbeam, who we used to work for, I was the Mac guy, but I wanted to get out and I wanted to learn VoIP. So I would sit with the guy who was building our Asterisk server, shows you how old this is, after work, I worked from 9 to 5 or 6 or whatever it is, and I sat with him from 6 to 7, and then I went home and I built my own Asterisk server, and I used to talk about it all the time. And back in the day, I would post about Asterisk all the time because I thought it was amazing. It's not, by the way. It's absolutely dog crap. But like, I try to be that persona. There's like that concept of like fake it till you make it as well, a little bit in this. If you want to be that person, be that person. Even if you don't think that you are that person, be that person. Because the only person who's telling you that you're not that person is you. Right? If you introduce yourself to me and you're like, hey, I am the God King of GitHub repository management for higher education, I'm going to straight up believe you. I don't even know if that's a real thing. And even if you're lying to me, if you can put it out with enough persona that you make me believe it and that you're also believing it, then you've made it and you're not siloed anymore, right? So it's a lot of internal work. I know this is sound foo-foo. Look in the mirror and tell yourself, right? Remember, what was that SNL bit, Stuart something or other? He's like, I'm good enough and I believe in myself, like that guy. It was Stuart Smalley, I think was the bit, right? It's foo-foo and funny, but it works. I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, I am an asshole. But then I realize, like, I'm not. I kind of know what I'm talking about when it comes to things, and I come and I share those things. I have 2 more slides right before we end because I got 4 minutes left on the MCP. Jen Cicero says this, and I love this one. There's nothing as unstoppable as a freight train of fuck yeah. Build it into your way of doing things. You want to be the VoIP person. You want to be the one who saves nonprofits. You want to be the retirement king. You want to be the GitHub guy. You want to be the smartest young person there is. You want to get a new job. You want to do whatever. You can do it if you believe it and you tell yourself, fuck yeah, I'm going to do this. YouTube is going to eat me alive. We just got demonetized, PSU. You're welcome. That's how you advance your career. I'm Justin. Thank you. I don't know what the URL is. I think if you go here and find the session, you can leave feedback. But if you do want to hit me up, please feel free to send me an email in the subject line. Go, met you at PSU, and I will graciously give you 5, 10, 15 minutes of my time, or I'll give you my calendar, and we can continue talking. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the conference. See you guys later.